Welcome to Metrocasting. I'm Doug Farley. The Central Susquehanna Community Foundation, based in Berwick, continues to grow as a regional philanthropic organization that uses endowment funds, large and small, to help support and better the quality of life in communities throughout central and northeast Pennsylvania. They are also instrumental in helping our children better understand the importance of being part of and how to be part of a giving community. This is done in part through the Foundation's annual Youth In Philanthropy program, designed to enlighten high school students as to the many ways they can and will be able to give back to the community where they live. Each year, students at the Berwick, Benton, Central Columbia, Northwest, the Columbia-Montour area Votech, Danville, and Warrior Run high schools begin holding classes or meetings with their respective advisors to learn the basics of philanthropy. Then, the first of 3 joint sessions between all the schools is held at a neutral site to begin applying the principles already learned at their individual schools and to put some of those ideas into practice. For instance, during the 2016-2017 school year, the fall session featured chances for students who learned how to work together to achieve their goals. This was done during some fun team-building exercises at the Berwick area YMCA. Several stations were set up to test and to prove each team's problem-solving abilities, such as getting from point A to point B without letting your legs touch the ground, or getting your entire team from point A to point B without having any of your team's feet leave the green mat. They also had to help guide blindfolded teammates by voice only through a maze. They had to make a tall tower out of mouse traps without setting them off, which seemed to be a little bit of a problem for some of them, and many more. Then, at the winter session held at the Central Susquehanna Community Foundation offices, YIP students got some early information about the grant rounds they'd be taking part in. This is where each school has to come up with criteria that they use in deciding which applicants will get a portion of $5,000 in grant money the foundation gives each school to award as part of the philanthropy program process. In the past, criteria has been anything from being an organization that helps to improve their school and students in it, people in and around the community at large, programs that help the disabled, teen pregnancy, veterans, bullying, and much more. The range of criteria is quite large, and each school's Youth in Philanthropy students are tasked with coming up with criteria important to them. And later, during meetings at their respective schools, they must come to an agreement as to which applicants should get their grant monies and how much of it each applicant should receive. That all leads up to the big day, Grant Day. In spring of 2017, YIP students and the applicants for their grant monies gathered at the Central Susquehanna Community Foundation office to find out who would get what, if anything. It's an exciting day and one both sides take great pride in. The students from each school stand up in front of the audience to announce their decisions as to which organizations will be getting grants to help continue their efforts. And during this particular ceremony, checks were handed out to the Ronald McDonald House of Danville, the EOS Therapeutic Writing Center, the Benton AYSO Soccer Program, Agape, programs at the Berwick Area YMCA, and with the Berwick Area Police, Camp Victory, and many more programs that benefit those in need and around each school's location. Afterwards, it was all smiles and handshakes and hugs between the students and the many organizations on hand for the presentations. We got the chance to speak with a number of people involved in the program.
How hard was it to figure out who was going to get the money?
It's actually a lot harder than it usually was. There were a lot of conflicting opinions on where the money should go, how it should be spent. We actually changed the amounts a couple times, probably 3 or 4 times over the course of a month. And we ended up being really happy with what we decided on.
At our school, we handled it very diplomatically. We used Google to form opinions and vote on how we wanted things. As a group, we narrowed it down to about 4 groups, and the hardest part was deciding how much money was going to which group.
It's a very difficult decision because all of the groups are going to help someone in some way, but it's just trying to figure out what we think would make the biggest impact.
It was a bit of a challenge. There were certain groups that we had a hard time talking to last year, so we ruled them out pretty quickly. But eventually we couldn't decide who to give the money to, which is why we just split it evenly among 5 different groups.
The program itself, you did this all 4 years, right?
Yes, I did.
And what did you think about the whole program?
I love the program. I encourage any freshmen that come in, anyone that I know, to join the program because it's actually helped me a lot with my high school. A lot of choices that I'm making about my future, how I view the community.
It's a really great program. I like this. It's different than a lot of other clubs I'm a part of, because we're actually like the ones making the decisions and we decide where the money goes instead of like the adults making the decisions. Why it's so great.
It's just a very humbling experience being able to help others.
I think it's a really good program. It's a good learning experience, and I just like the feeling of helping people out.
You got a couple of grants today. You're going to use it for keeping the dust down or something? Explain that.
Yes, so the footing in our arena is made of rubber and sand, and as the horses and people walk on it, it kicks up dust, and in that dust is something called silica dust, and this can cause COPD, worsened asthma, worsened allergies, and we just didn't want to accept that as a result for our riders, so we decided that it was about time to purchase a product that would keep the dust down. So what MagFlakes does is MagFlakes pulls the moisture out of the air, and it keeps our footing saturated, so that way it doesn't kick the dust up into the air, and it keeps the respiratory system working well.
So the money you're getting from YIP is really going to come in handy.
Oh yes, definitely. We definitely needed this money so we could keep working through our normal annual budget.
You got a couple of grants today. How does that make you feel?
Overwhelmed. We solely survive on grants, and we do fundraising, but the granting is the thing that helps us the most. And with our program, we work with single moms. With Project Elect, when we get into the schools, we do work with single dads. We offer we're working on literature to get books out to the children of families, that are single parenting, and sometimes the lower needy income families. But we work on parenting skills. We work with finances. This year, the reach out into the community is to bring the students in. We'd like to get a couple students to come in and work with us for some programs, or even make a new program for us to help our single parents and our children in need in the community.
How hard would it be to exist without donations from organizations like this?
We probably wouldn't exist, because even though you do fundraising, you don't always get enough fundraising to run the programs. So we either would not exist, or we would have very small, limited programs that we could do. So the money that we get from the Wellness Foundation and the YIP really help our moms a lot.
Camp Victor provides a unique and empowering camp experience for over 1,500 campers every year. And we run camps from the end of March through the end of October. We have over 31 different groups that come and use our site, and those are for kids with autism, cancer, type 1 diabetes, spina bifida, heart, lung, kidney disorders, and it's very broad. So kids who've lost a loved one or kids whose parents are deployed in the military, we have programs for all of those populations.
And of course, you need funding to keep that moving. So what's this money mean to you guys?
Absolutely. So these grants go directly to our Kids Cash program, and that provides funds for families who would not be able to come to camp otherwise.
This year of Youth in Philanthropy was another successful year. We had many more students join the program this year. Last year, Warrior Run, it was their first year participating, and this year they almost doubled in size. So we're seeing a lot of interest from the students, and they're getting involved with organizations in the community and partnering with them, continuing to do volunteer work, and it's just a really wonderful experience to see all of the students making the most out of it and spending time working with the nonprofits and volunteering both in school and outside of school.
Again, the Youth in Philanthropy program of the Central Susquehanna Community Foundation is unique and important, and everyone involved, from the students and advisors to the grant recipients, benefits. To learn more about YIP, how to get your school involved, or how to apply for a portion of that grant money, you can contact Christine at the number on your screen or by email. You can also find out a lot of information about the YIP program and the Central Susquehanna Community Foundation by logging onto csgiving.org. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you again after later.
Love.